Holy fuck-omania. Well, here we are on the Browns postgame show. I got to resuscitate my heart. My goodness. Okay, let me, I'm in the process of setting this thing up because I did not want to miss out on this. And let me, hi, everybody, and hello, people in the chat room. I have to put the link up for the studio so that in a few minutes I'm going to be inviting people into the program. I'm going to start out on my own. That had to be the worst kick I've ever seen go through. I mean, how did that even get up off the ground? What is it about our kickers that, I mean, do you realize that a grasshopper dove for his life on the last kick? I mean, holy cannoli. I got to compose myself and get my thoughts together. This game was won and lost and won and lost, and just a finally a good ending for the Cleveland Browns, even though the officials did whatever they could to prevent it from happening. And it took some fellow named Derek Willis to make a catch and a run, and then I'll talk about Duke Johnson in a minute. Duke Johnson running the ball, and the Cleveland Browns end up winning the football game. Welcome to the Browns post-game show. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine, and I'm just shocked because we won. I thought there was no way that we could win a close game under this set of circumstances, and I still kind of feel that way. The Browns have to find a kicker. Folks, that was... I remember my high school team, and my high school team won one football game in my senior year, and that's how we won, on a field goal that cleared the goalpost by about that much. I don't even know how that ball goes over, and what a gag, and it still was good, and the Ravens lost. I'm laughing my ass off. I don't know about you folks. I'm laughing my ass off. So, how's everybody doing? Tony the Calf says, incredible. My God, I couldn't even watch that kick. Well, I mean, you didn't have to watch it for very long. It had no elevation. God damn. We beat the Ravens and the referees, correct, Bronk? Hands over the eyes, Tony the Calf says. Yeah, that was a moment where, you know, I wasn't really like that because, what the fuck, we're either going to win or tie. And then I turned and, well, there's always a chance, because I did see the Browns lose a game once where the field goal was blocked and they ran it in the other way. So anything is possible. Atlanta Browns fan, we need a backup kicker on the roster. Yeah, you need a kicker is what you need. Absolutely. Ron Shane will take it. Yeah, we'll take it. All right. The Ravens took it up the ass. We'll take it. Michael Proud is saying, happy I don't have to murder somebody. What did we just watch? Joe Buck said, I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of what's going through my mind. Mrs. Moo did watch that. We were both like, what the fuck? I mean, that's got to be the craziest, goofiest ending, worst kick for a winner I've ever seen in my life. And don't tell me that's going to give Greg Joseph any confidence moving forward. I don't even know how that ball got up off the ground. I paused my television just so I can watch the kick over again. Of course, we're going to see that all over Twitter. We're going to see it all over the Twitter sphere. Unbelievable. Yeah, you know, the whole, you know, I know what they called on they didn't call against Landry as far as, you know, defensive holding or pass interference or all of that stuff. I certainly understand that. I certainly don't understand what the point is in running an end around that deep out of your own territory. And even Hugh Jackson was shaking his head. Todd Haley is going to have to be spoken to seriously. Mr. Andrew, 2800 says 3 out of 5 games in overtime. Do we get an award for that? Thankfully, it's not futility award. I'm going to put the link in here so that people can join the show, because you probably have more to say about this than I do, for God's sake. Sorry, there's the link, folks. If you want to jump into the program, I'll also put it up on my website, so that mooheadradio.com. Let me do it like this. Join the show. Boom, boom. right, and I really also have to kind of put the link to the show on my. I mean, I'm so flabbergasted. I very rarely will you see me at a loss for words, but I'm at a total loss for words. So
they broke in the coverage just for the kick.
Oh my God! It's like I mean, I don't know whether to be happy or I'm just shaking my head because again, there were things in that game that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I mean,
they tried to lose it.
Yeah, that's really what it looked like to me too. I mean, it looked to me as if their defense was pressuring Baker Mayfield, and our defense just stopped rushing anybody. There were plays where I swear to God, our defensive line didn't even dig in. It was
then
like
they gave up an 11-yard run to Flacco.
But that, I mean, obviously there were adjustments.
That's like having Darren Fells do an end around for 11 yards.
There were adjustments made at halftime, and the middle of the field was open, and Flacco took advantage of that. And then we were winning 9-6. We let him go down the field. We no resistance, and we end up in a tie situation. And then once I saw that aborted end around, or that abortion of a call for an end around deep in our territory, and it's like, it's obvious to me Todd Haley does not believe in Baker Mayfield. Now it's obvious to me he does not believe in the offense. And I'm looking at Todd Haley not surviving this season because that's inexplicable. You don't toss a ball backwards 6 yards from your own fucking goal line. You just don't do that. I don't know. And even Hugh Jackson, who's probably the second most ignorant man, he's probably thinking to himself, we have the most interesting man in the world, and we have the two most ignorant men in the world. When I coach football, I make stupid play calls. And if not for the escapability of Baker Mayfield and finding Derek Willis running across the field like that, we lose that football game because there's going to be 2.5 minutes left. They're going to have the ball in great field position because we're kicking from way back, and our defense will be exhausted. So, I mean, that kind of play calling just doesn't make any sense to me at all. The other thing
we need to have a breathalyzer and standby in the blue tent.
God almighty. And then, when Rashard Higgins went out, it's like, oh, well, now what are we going to do? And, God, I sound like Jimmy Stewart. Now, what are, it's like, what are we going to do? We got nobody. And we didn't see Damian Ratley. We saw Derek Willis. It was Streeter on the end around, by the way. And, and he was like, why am I running the wrong way? And it's like, he's disoriented. Next. You get one chance. And then it's like Duke Johnson. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm going to tell you what I saw, and it's not good if you're Todd Haley also. After the first play that Duke Johnson made, where he made people miss on a run and got us a necessary 10, 11 yards on the run, he got up and he went like this, like, why aren't I carrying the ball? You've got a real problem on your hands. I understand why he's not an every down back, because he's brittle. He's not real big. But why he's not touching the ball, I have no idea. Why Nick Chubb isn't touching the ball, I have no idea. Why we're running end arounds like that, I have no idea. And it is damn fortunate that we have Baker Mayfield because, they say with God, all things are possible. And I kind of believe that with Baker Mayfield, all things are possible. That's what I think. I'm going to check into the chat room because I want some of the people, their comments about this. Willie's ! Mark Jones says. Des Harrison. Des Harrison. Yeah, okay, you can call him Des. Survived the day. Yeah, one sack for Suggs. And that particular one, Baker kind of stepped out of the pocket. General Dog, Desmond Harrison was stealing such a lunch a lot of the day. I don't know what that means. Doggy Bones, they broke into the coverage, but they were hoping that we missed. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's all, you just look at what the officials were doing, and the guy who was obviously, an illegal procedure, moved way early before it snapped, and they just looked the other way. I mean, it's really obnoxious. There was another play in the game. It was actually the play, you might remember it, folks, where our wide receiver came off the field kind of hurt in the back of his leg because he was hit low from behind. Yep. And that's a totally illegal block. You're not allowed to block below the knees. They do it right in front of the officials, and the guy had to come out of the game because of it, and no call.
Yeah, it was Higgins.
No calls all day long. I mean, these past 2 weeks just show how corrupt the NFL is. And like you said, thank fucking God we have Baker. Baker is we're going to the playoffs this year. I mean, the only thing holding us back are the goddamn referees. The conspiracy of this fucking NFL, and I'm sorry. It's just
the coaching.
I'm agreeing with you. The refereeing this week was worse than last week.
Unfucking believable. The no calls against those cocksuckers.
And not only that, the thing that's really weird about it is how they all gather up together.
Yeah, they gather up together and decide.
But that main guy
is against them this time.
Yeah, the fucking RoboCop main guy. You are in.
He got looks like Lurch from the Adams family.
Fucking RoboCop.
So, okay, we're going to go one at a time here so we don't break into this like we did last time. All right. But yeah, the RoboCop guy whose mouth is moving, who is he talking to? What I want to know is who is he talking to? Who is guiding RoboCop guy?
This is not transparent, this fucking refereeing. We should be able to hear what they're saying.
God almighty. Hi to Rick. Hi to Stephen. Hi to Michael. Of course, Brian always. And Bronk always. God almighty. It's frustrating because the defense really, especially the secondary, played inordinately well. I was not real pleased with the defensive line work. I wasn't real pleased with them stopping the run consistently, and I certainly wasn't happy with the pressure that I thought allegedly that when we got Ogba back, that was going to free up, more pass pressure, and Myles Garrett and all that good stuff. But it hasn't worked out that way, and we are very fortunate that we come off the field winners in that game. Very fortunate. And the Ravens, it's not that they deserve to win either. They certainly didn't. They didn't do much on their own to help their own cause. Yes, Stephen.
I wanted to add something in overtime. I don't know if you guys noticed this. Look at the swag or the posture or the mannerisms that Flacco was carrying. He was walking up slow as the line was getting ready to set up for the next play in overtime. And he has this look on his face like, yep, same old Browns. I just have to put it on cruise control, and I'm waiting for this big play to happen. But I felt like the Ravens were toying with the Browns in overtime. I don't know if you guys got that impression, but I felt like on the offense side of the ball they were.
I think they were toying with them the entire second half.
No, but especially in overtime.
Yeah, something, Stephen? You bring up a good point, and I'll tell you when I felt the same thing. Once that failed end around to Streeter occurred, and it looked like, oh my God, we're back on our 5-yard line, and this is an instant deep punt situation. And the Ravens guy got up and did a little dance in front of the dog pound.
Oh, he
did. He was full of himself, man. And it was
smug as hell, man.
And that was their way of saying same old Browns. And you know something? Baker Mayfield was complaining to the officials about their officiating. This guy is not some little mouse of a guy like
Which is what Hugh Jackson and the coaching staff should have been complaining about the referee. Not leave it to Baker to do it.
Well, Jackson was kind of doing it.
I'm thrilled that Baker is doing what he's doing. But, on the play, the throw to Willies, you can watch the play, and I honestly believe that they were going to collapse the pocket and the Browns were just going to throw underneath and settle for the punt. And instead, Baker just Mayfielded them.
Yeah.
And,
Mayhem!
that was the difference in the entire overtime at the end. The Ravens were toying with the Browns, and you can see it, especially on the offense side of the ball. Like John Harbaugh's relaying plays back to Flacco. Flacco has this real sluggish look to him. Guys, go look at the replays. Like he looks at the sideline after an incomplete pass, goes, and then John Harbaugh goes, and then he'll just run the next play, same shit. And I think he was waiting for one big play to happen, and you don't mess with the Cleveland defense in that situation, and it was proven to bite them in the ass at the end. That's all I got to say.
They were Munsoned. I mean, they got Munsoned, and by not playing that play through, Baker Mayfield keeps his eyes downfield, makes a great throw, and then Willie's his man has obviously decided to keep his eyes fixed on Baker because they didn't believe that Baker was going to make that big play at that moment because the Browns always fold, and they didn't fold on that play, and we end up now we almost folded on the field goal kick. We need a kicker where this kid can't kick at this level, and there's no reason to for the Cleveland Browns to experiment more weeks with a guy who clearly is in above his head. And you know what really scares the hell out of me? Any young kicker who kicked 69% at Florida Atlantic University, every time before his pre-kick ritual, it looks like he's taking a field sobriety test, and it worries the fuck out of me.
He does that jaggedy thing with his hand.
Yeah,
it's never straight. It's never fucking straight.
No, it's going like he has a palsy shake. It's no wonder the ball never goes straight. He's like,
We're the only kicker that's got Parkinson's.
He has
Parkinson's.
Just checking the wind. Just checking the wind.
Yeah, equilibrium issue. I mean, the guy has vertigo. I don't know what the deal is, but it's like, okay, son, I want you to walk a straight line. That would be the thing that they should do. When they bring him out, they should make him, it's like, instead of this, he should be.
But that's what I'm saying. They need a breathalyzer in the blue tent at all times.
God almighty.
Actually two. They need one for the kicker and they need one for Todd Haley.
Well, you know what? Can I point out something?
Sure.
We're a 500 fucking football team.
Yeah,
we're
we
500 right now.
My God, we are.
We're better than 500
with the
because we got a tie.
How about Denzel Ward, though? Denzel Ward, I mean.
All pro.
Okay, well, let Michael speak.
He warrants the #1 pick. I mean, unbelievable, that kid. I mean, this entire defense is ridiculous. I mean, the whole team. And I don't want to say it's just Baker. Baker sparks everybody, but man, that defense is fucking incredible. Unbelievable.
To Peggy John, who pretty Peggy John. Okay. The Browns wins a win no matter what. I'm with you, Peggy. I'm with you. You may be the only female viewer that I have. And I
not for long, probably.
And if you'd only cherish me as much as I cherish you, yeah, the one dude on camera is eating dinner. Yeah, Steven, when he gets nervous, he eats. Okay, and after watching Joseph, he's eating. Yeah, we all were. Ron Shane says they were bakerized. Absolutely, and that's like vaporized, I guess.
Bakerite.
Yep, and so far the Browns have
mayhem.
Yeah, so far the Browns have not lost at home. Yeah, it is tremendous progress. People go home happy. Yeah,
yep. Preach.
And you want to know something? Here's something I just want to throw in, just because I'm just that kind of cow. When you show up to the stadium and you get a game like this, and it really looks like it's not going to work out, and then it works out, and you go home happy. Just remember that this is the organization that was 0-16 last year and 1-15 the year before, the laughingstock of the NFL, but you still have a lot of people watching this team as opposed to the fucking moribund Cleveland Indians, who I don't give a flying fuck about. They're 0-28, middle of their order. I don't give a flying fuck. Nobody in Cleveland gives a flying fuck about them. And you know something? Nobody's going to go home happy in game 3 because they're going to give it up. They're going to give it up on their home field because you know something? They suck. The ownership of that team sucks. The ownership of the Cleveland Browns is dishonest as hell. Did you see the camera that they showed Jimmy Haslam?
He's like, don't show me on camera. People might find me.
Do you know what he looked like? Do you remember the movie Hoosiers?
Oh, yeah. Remember
the guy who hated Coach Norman Dale? The guy who was coaching the team when Norman Dale took over and Norman Dale told him to give him the ball. That sour face, that's Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam is, you know, he looks like he's in a criminal lineup. He's like, please don't identify me. It's that, and I want to give the Jimmy.
Maybe he just needs some prune juice or Metamucil or something.
Maybe he got arrested off that truck stop team after all.
He has guilt written all over him. Wait a minute. Be quiet. I want to do the face. That's the look. I mean, you know, I remember at least Art Modell shaking people's hands. You know, I don't think anybody wants to shake Jimmy Haslam's hands because, you know, there's no place, unless there's hand sanitizer, there's no place to clean up after.
Well, unless you're carrying Purell.
Yeah, that's right. Wipe 2 fingers clean.
Mr. Mouet, can I ask you something? Did you see that commercial where it had the clip where it showed the Cleveland Browns and it said they haven't won in 36 Sundays and it showed a guy with a jersey, another guy with a brown, and they're all
2015
thumbs up. I'm like, you got just a way to kick sand, just a way to kick a man when he's down. I'm like, it's like they were already anticipating Browns were going to lose. They're like, Browns haven't won in 36 games. And they showed Kozar in the back. I'm like, that's wrong, man. You know,
I mean, they have to come up with a new statistic. You know, next statistic now that the Browns are 500 is that the Browns haven't won by more than a touchdown in so many games. I mean, you know, it's like
we're actually better than 500 because we got that tie.
Y'all should be 3-1 against the Raiders.
Yeah, and I thought we were going to gain ground to the Bengals, and the Dolphins laid down. After being up 17-0 and lose 27-17. The Steelers won also, so they're even with us. And now Cincinnati sits by itself at the top at 4-1. But, you know, the Chargers are coming to Cleveland. We could be 3-0 at home. We could be 3-2-1. And it's like, this is what we talked about last week. You know, nobody in the end is going to remember. They'll remember Derek Willis because his last name sounds phallic. But
you got out today.
Yeah, you know, hey, look at that! It's Derek Hardon. He just caught another ball. Yeah, people are not going to forget him. However, you'll forget everything else. If you're 3-2-1, you won't remember that the win was kind of hinky, a little cheesy. You're not going to remember that. You're only going to remember the record of the team. And Tony the Calf is so moved that he is jumping in here because he's so happy that Brett Kavanaugh. You know, if you had a sister, Tony, you wouldn't be so happy. But go ahead. Welcome to the program.
Vikings. Are they losing already?
They're playing Eagles right now.
Yeah.
Are they losing?
I don't know. Tony can't. Yeah, I hear you, Tony. Tony can't hear me, though.
Hey, Mr. Mouet, can I ask, does this Cleveland Browns storyline kind of make you – it kind of gives you a memory of remember the Titans? Remember how the referees were trying to get Denzel Washington off the team? They were trying to make him lose, and because they were trying to make him lose their first game. I don't know if y'all remember.
Yes, yeah. But these fucking announcers were trying to put Denzel Washington into the game. What the hell is that? What the hell's that? You know, I'm halfway expecting the announcer to say, Denzel Washington. The other guy goes, oh, they all look alike anyway. I mean, what kind of thing is that?
Denzel? We got that Baker Mayfield complaining to the referees, but that tells you there's something wrong right there.
Yeah.
Well, Baker wants to win, man. Maybe that's what's wrong. Maybe.
No, I give him credit, but I'm saying if he has to go down and tell the referees, that's pretty sad, you know?
Yeah.
About your league officials, you know?
I think he needs. I think he needs to do a longest yard on one of these officials.
And out of four,
throw him in the ball with the football.
Not a bad idea.
Okay, now what we're going to do, because Doggy Bone says, please don't laugh at the same time. Guy's probably got headset in, and he probably ended up with a severe squeal, and now he's half deaf. We're going to go individually now. No, we're going to go individually. One at a time. Tony, can you hear me now? Tony, can you hear me? No, for some reason, Tony can't get through. All right, we'll start from left to right. Bronk, what stood out for you in this game? What stood out?
Well, the defense did not allow a touchdown in this game. I mean, you can say what you want about the defensive line, but we fucking stopped them from scoring a touchdown, and that's amazing. And I think we can do that to virtually any team in this league.
Yeah, and I'm going to comment on each comment, and what I would say about that is, you know, well, the Ravens still haven't given up a touchdown, and they fucking lost. Okay, next.
They lost.
Brian?
They did. They
Brian?
did give up a touchdown.
Yeah. Brian, what I hear you, Tony. We're going in order. And
finally.
I
bought fucking stupid Beats headphones, $200 fucking headphones. They don't work for fucking shit.
Yeah, that's the one Denzel Washington supports. Brian, you're next.
What stood out to me is the defense, after getting rolled last week for 45 points, stood up against a 30-point an offense that's averaging 30 points and shut them the hell down and got 2 takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, again,
we're missing the Joe Schobert forced fumble.
Yeah, you know what I noticed, and I'm going to make comments on each comment that's made, is that they had an incredible record of red zone consecutive touchdowns, and the Ravens didn't do dick in the red zone. So that's where I give the defense so much credit, is when the early turnover happens, when we run into trouble early, the defense kept them out of the end zone, and that's great. Michael is taking a big swig of water. He's sober this week. He might have something good to say. Michael?
No, I mean, without stating the obvious with Baker, I mean, same thing as Brian and you, man. That defense is unbelievable. I mean, with that D and with Baker, it's just the sky's the limit even this year. I mean, that defense is so freaking tremendous. I was like, throughout the game, I'm like, where's Jamie Collins? Where's Jamie Collins? And he comes up and makes like 2-3 big plays at the end of the game. It's just everybody's contributing. And yeah, man. I mean, I know I'm a little baked right now and hungover from last night, but I don't know. Maybe I'm out of my mind, but I see the playoffs this year for sure.
Well, I don't see playoffs, but what I see is that the Browns defense hung in and did what they could. I would have liked to have seen more pressure on the quarterback. I would have liked to have seen a more dominant performance by our defensive line, but nothing but straight A's across the board. The secondary, Gaines had a magnificent football game. Ward had a magnificent football game. Even Jabril Peppers was in the right place in a number of occasions. I mean,
tackles, for God's sakes.
To overcome those referees, play that good a defense and overcome those referees, for the defense not to give up and just be so dominant until the end. It's just incredible.
All right. Now, Rick, what did you note in the game?
Baltimore's first penalty wasn't until there was 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And by then, we had already had 10 penalties. We need to clean that up a little bit.
It was a sarcastic cheer when the announcers mentioned it.
Good effort from the defense, of course. Good effort from Baker. Is there any way we can put the special teams coordinator in concussion protocol?
Here's my question. I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Chris Tabor or this Amos guy? I mean, it seems like the special teams have gotten worse. And we know how bad they were when Chris Tabor was running the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it's personnel, but part of it is just inexplicable, the flags that get thrown against these people. As far as the flags that were not thrown against the Ravens, it's frustrating that you allow a team to play for damn near all 4 quarters of the game, a clean football game, when you've seen with your own eyes penalties being committed. It is more indicative that it is going to be twice as hard for the Cleveland Browns to win. But let's build character from that. All right. Now, Steven, what did you take away from the game?
All right. I want to kind of, because I know people keep talking about how the defense never gave up, but I actually want to give some credit to the offense and to the play calling in that final drive that led to the field goal. The reason why I'm saying this is because when the Browns were faced at 2nd and 21, backed up on their own 5-yard line, the Ravens had this same old Browns mentality. Like I said, they were toying with them in the overtime, okay? So then when Browns were, no matter how much the pressure was on them, and I could literally feel it through my screen, the Browns did not give up. And when they got that big first down, and then the play calling with Duke Johnson, how he was able to advance the ball on 2 occasions to advance the field goal, to put your kicker in a place to make the game-winning field goal. The mix that play calling up, the Ravens did not see that coming either. And I just have to give credit to the Browns offense for not giving up, for not folding. All
right, I'm going to jump in and just address some of the comments in the chat room too. How do you feel about our coach? I still do not trust him. Well, I don't trust our offensive coordinator either. So welcome, and I don't think the Baker Mayfield does either, because there was a little side shot of Baker kind of arguing with Haley. And I really begin to wonder whether Haley believes in Baker Mayfield. And I just am beginning to really, some of the play calls really bothering me. Also, let's see what else. Flat out, Denzel Ward won us this game. Well, he didn't get beat, and he's not letting their best player beat him. 13, their speed receiver, really didn't do a whole hell of a lot during the course of the game. Navarre wants me to talk about how they destroyed Jarvis. You know what it was like, the old Cert's mouth freshener ad. Two mints. Two guys hit him. Fucking Jarvis looked like a pinball. I mean, the first guy hit him, the second guy hit him, and the referee just sits there and swallows the whistle. I mean, there's not much you can do when the league, this is a story that they want to pursue. And the Browns, what it comes down to is what I said last week. You can sit there and talk about what's obvious about the league, but you've got to stand up and make a play. And Baker Mayfield and Derek Willis made the biggest play of the game to get us out of our own territory. And, I want to say something else because there may be Ravens fans watching. I don't think that was a roughing the quarterback against Baker at all. Okay?
He went low to his knees. I think that's why.
I'd have to take a look at it from a different angle.
Guy, yeah, he came low like on Baker's
Did he?
Right leg.
It's hard to tell what even is that fucking call anymore.
It looked like it looked like it was directly at his knee. I thought the one guy.
Do you guys think the refs were trying to make up for that contact call that should have been called on the Ravens?
Maybe.
Looked like they were
one at a time.
Sorry.
Who wants to speak first? Class.
Okay, guys. Do y'all think they were trying to make up for that blown call, the inappropriate contact downfield?
I don't know, because the only angle they showed was that last minute kind of low to the ground angle, and he definitely did not put his weight on Baker. He definitely did not lead with his head. So, I'm questioning that because I didn't get an angle on it, but it didn't look egregious to me, and the announcer said it didn't look egregious. Hey, I'll take whatever I can get.
Gates, go. Oh, sorry.
Go Diggs, go. Fuck the Vikings. Fuck the Vikings. There's no Vikings,
man.
Hey, I'm watching the game. You might hear me get cheer once in a while.
Yeah, why don't you put on your little funny hat with the horns? Jesus,
hey, Mr. Moorhead.
Hagar hat.
Up your ass if you don't shut
Hey,
up.
Mr. Moorhead, I'll tell you what stands out in this game is, and I think the whole panel can agree. I'll keep it short and simple so we can move on.
Yes.
The NFL, regardless of how the referees call the game, this sends a message to all 31 NFL teams, including the AFC North, who's been toying with the Browns, same old Browns. You better finish us off.
Well, and I'll tell you what it tells me is that we're not going to continue next year with the Callaways, the Willies, the Streeters, the Njokus. We're going to have a couple of big-time receivers on this football team, and you're not going to be in 9-9 overtime games with Baker Mayfield on the field. It's not going to happen.
I can already tell that first-round pick is a wide receiver wherever it falls.
Yeah, you got to give the young man help. And Baker Mayfield made a big play. He threw to a guy he has no experience throwing to in Willies. I don't know, during the course of preparation, he could not have been in the game planning, for God's sakes. And
nobody knew he was even on the roster, I'm sure.
Well, I knew he was on the roster. I saw him play in the preseason. He's the last guy they held on to. Him and Streeter were the two last guys they held on to. And, I just hope that Rashard Higgins' knee injury isn't that bad. But what I wanted to point out about Derek Willis, undrafted out of A&M, is that you can say what you want, but he caught the ball. And I don't care how fast Callaway is or how athletic Njoku is. If you don't catch the football, it doesn't really matter. And Derek Willis caught two passes. One on the sideline and one the big play that got us down the field. And you know something? As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather you throw to a guy who can catch the football than a guy who can get open maybe a little bit better, but consistently is inconsistent and drops a lot of balls. Tony looks so engrossed in his television. What did you take away from the Cleveland game?
I'm impressed with the defense, and I think Baker's a stud. You have an awesome offensive line. It's just weird watching a Browns team that's actually good. You've known me 15 years now, Moo?
Yep.
How many times have we been able to say that we have a decent Browns team to watch?
Well, it certainly makes Sundays a whole lot more entertaining.
My biggest fear is, though, if they keep playing like this, how does that make Haslam look at Hugh? Because you can only be so good before coaching kicks in. And you can't have a coach like Hugh that's going to stunt.
Well, I'll say this. This Browns team offensively is not well composed enough to score a lot of points, and they're not going to have easy wins. They're going to have to grind out what there is. I think we all recognize that. And that's, Navarre just said in the chat room, Baker is willing our offense to respectability. And, anything that we get is going to start with that young man, but he's not getting a whole hell of a lot of help. Joe Fox is asking, how many passes did Njoku drop? And it was a few more today. And there was one play where Baker made an incredible throw across the field to the sideline. He let it go off his fingers. I mean, and for the second time this season on an important pass, Callaway didn't bring the ball back into his body and let the defensive man knock it out of his hands. I mean, you just can't have this kind of thing. It doesn't work. BLK Heavyweight says Jackson is not the problem this time. It's Todd Haley's play calling and a kicker. Yeah, we got to get a kicker in, but the play calling is a real big
kickers. Oh, sorry.
And Nick Chubb, I don't know, what the holdup is. I don't know what the holdup is. I thought that we were that Duke Johnson was going to be an important part of this offense, and I don't know what Todd Haley's doing, but it's not making me or anyone else very happy. Let's put it that way.
No, again with the 3 fucking carries.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, it's like, and that they're going to ask that of Hugh, and he's going to go, well, it's just kind of how the game kind of winds up, it's just the flow of things, and we're going to get that bullshit answer from him.
Well, to be fair, Hyde was getting really good yardage today.
No, he was getting 4 yards a carry. If you look at his statistics, why don't you look at how many yards per carry? Somebody look that up for me. How many yards per carry did Carlos Hyde get? Because
3.7.
There you go. That's Carlos Hyde. That's Woody Hayes.
He had like 13 yards of negative, minus 13 yards rushing on a number of carries.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's tearing and ripping it up. They gave the ball once, and there was a holding call, and Chubb gained 14 yards, and he just never came back into the game. He never saw nothing. I mean, it's just one pass that was out of his reach, and a play where he was smothered behind the line of scrimmage, and that's all. And
Duke Johnson had 5 carries for 35 yards with a long of 15.
Yeah, and that'll explain why he was kind of, what do you do? And the answer is you really need to use him as a run option in a situation when you need to get outside. Don't run Carlos Hyde outside. Run Duke Johnson out there and let him cut back and be slippery and get out with speed and use him in the passing game. I don't understand. There was a play where the only time that I remember us toward the end of the game blitzing, they knew we were going to do it. And Flacco stood there and threw a screen pass that went for about 24 yards, and it was like, we don't run screen passes. In fact, this was the first week we ran a bubble screen with Callaway where there was actually somebody, Landry, out there to block for him.
Hey, can I bring up something?
Yeah.
No one's made a comment about how brilliant Colquitt was today. He should get a fucking game ball. Well, and then you cheered on the sidelines, got everybody fired up towards the end. Colquitt was outstanding.
He was firing up the fans. I loved it.
But what was weird? What was weird about that punt and the flag and the hold was that I thought maybe Colquitt thought that the hold happened sooner. It was going to be an automatic first down for the Browns, because I've never seen a punter like making sure that the flag wasn't on us because he didn't want to lose his kick. You know what I mean? It was like, I mean, it was a peculiar thing. It's like, God, are we to the point where we're high-fiving each other over a fucking punt? I mean, the special teams unit is thirsty, all right. But I mean, yeah, he had a really good game. It was a really good kick. But I thought that was really peculiar. It's like, of all the things to be jumping up and down excited over, wow. I mean, he was fired up like somebody who had just made a pick six. It was,
well, he's been on the team for so long, but he actually started to believe now. You know, he wasn't hanging his head. He was out there playing. You know, that's what I took from that.
Well, you know, Joe Fox says Duke and Chubb need more touches, then put them in a room with Brett Kavanaugh. Okay. Okay.
Allegedly.
Brian Baylark says they have a three-headed monster in the backfield and don't use them correctly. But the fact of the matter is Duke's a better receiver, and Duke asked them to be a receiver to begin the season. The thing that's peculiar is we're down receivers, and he's not getting an opportunity. You can't really effectively use three running backs. You could use two, but Carlos Hyde continues to average 3.5 yards a carry. Best Impact is saying, I did not get why he did not allow Baker to throw the ball downfield. Callaway was 3 for 5. That's targets, catches and targets, not that bad. But I agree, he should do better. And Navarre saying, I agree that Duke needs plays called for him specifically. But, you got to isolate. You got to be able to isolate Duke on linebackers. And I don't want to see Duke Johnson running inside too much. But if the only way he's going to get on the field is to do that, then carry him off the field hurt. But it will get something out of him because we're getting nothing out of him right now. He's become an invisible man. And Brian, you're right. Callaway has penguin flippers on key passes. All of our receivers seem that way. Now, Brian Baylark's asked me, what do you think about Matthews from Tennessee working out here? I'd feel better if he was Clay's brother because, honestly, then we'd know that the genetics are good. He wanted out of Tennessee really bad. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but, he's kind of a possession receiver guy. If Rashard Higgins is down with a knee for any period of time, you can count on Matthews being signed because he would be very similar to Rashard Higgins in that regard. And Higgins was having a nice little game before he had to come out of the game. But he's reliable. I want to say that Matthews, what did he do? He caught like 500 to 600 yards worth of passes for the Tennessee Titans last year, and he was complaining that he was not being targeted enough and that he was not being given an opportunity in the preseason. So, at this point, you need professional receivers, and I don't think Streeter is one of them. Willie's, I'm thrilled for him. He's got to be really excited about what he's done, but at least he can catch the football. But we need professional receivers. We're not going to end up with any game breakers here at this point in the year. We've just, we've got to figure out ways to score like 24 points in a game so that our defense will hold the other team, and then we'll win some more games.
Your only hope is a trade target. Don't even fucking bother with the Dez Bryant nonsense.
No, and Brian Baylark says he only has 11 yards all season. He was the Titans' leading receiver. Way to go. Black Rob is saying we need to run more screenplays with Duke. Absolutely, but we don't seem to know how to run a screenplay. I was talking to Mrs. Moohead during the game, and I said, it's really amazing. You watch how composed the Ravens are running a screenplay to Collins, and then you sit there and you watch the Browns run a screenplay, and what it looks like is when the whistle blows, when the whistle blows at the Apple factory in China, and they're all trying to get out of work before they have to jump out of the building and commit suicide. That's what it looks like. And that's where the expression Chinese fire drill comes from, by the way, which is what our screen passes look like.
Yeah, they just end up in the net.
It's it's all out of sync. All out of sync. So, we got to figure out ways to, and this is the offensive coordinator's responsibility, man. And so far, not happening, not happening at all. Meanwhile, something, Chad, I almost agree with you on this, that Tony is fapping Viking shit in our show. And Tony, I mean, keep it to yourself. Put your dick back in your trousers. We couldn't see it on camera even if you pulled it out. So stop. This is not Viking.
Off. I just witnessed a 400-pound guy run 80 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, there's no HD camera out there that can show Tony's dick.
Yeah. You can relate to that, can't you, Tony? A 400-pound man running downfield for a touchdown. That's like your fantasy. That is your fantasy. Hey, no, I'm in much better shape than that. Mr. Rourke, your fantasy. Tony. I'm still speechless about the win. Has anybody got the replay and give me a link to the replay of that final kick? Did somebody hit that ball? Because I swear to God, it was spinning sideways.
I thought it was deflected at first, and I thought it wasn't going to be good. I was like, oh, shit, it got blocked. Here goes another damn tie again.
Yeah, but it was spinning.
It looked like he kicked the knuckleball.
Yeah, it looked like it was like spinning.
It didn't get up very high. I know that. It just barely got over the bar, but it counts.
I thought it was deflected or it hit the ground, maybe, and then kicked it from the ground,
I don't know what it was, but I mean, it didn't. I'm sitting there. I was watching the pass rush, the special teams coming around the end to block the kick. And so I took my eye off because I thought for sure the guy was going to get around and block it. Maybe somebody did, but then I looked. Naturally, the first thing you do when somebody kicks a ball is you look up. That would be the normal thing to do. And the ball wasn't there. And I went, no! Yeah. And then all of a sudden, my plane of vision came back down, and it was like it just kind of scooted over the goalpost. It was like,
yeah, barely. I thought I was going to dive bomb underneath the bar. I thought, well, that's about normal, but.
And then the thing that's funny, where I froze the game, there's a picture of Joseph, and he's pointing up to the sky like, praise Jesus! It's like that's really not what I want from my kicker. I'm sorry, not this.
I found it. I found the video for you to look, but the chat room won't let you put website links because YouTube is communist.
Oh, okay. Then put it on my front page over on the mooheadradio.com site.
You still have that website? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I still have it. I mean, what the hell? Yeah. Actually, it was for all the Vikings fans. That was my concession of Vikings.
Both of them.
Website, yeah. But no, I want to see the kick again because I'm wondering if the kick was. It looked like one of those things where somebody didn't get a whole hoof on it, but may have gotten like 2 fingers on it. You know what I mean? Because it altered. The only way that can happen is if he kicked it in the middle of the ball like Zane Gonzalez with his ripped out groin muscle.
Case half a foot.
Yeah, I mean, he may have kicked it in the middle of the ball.
I should put my toe on camera. It's fully healed now.
Oh, so you still have a toe? It was not amputated.
I do. I only lost like that, maybe that much, and then the nail.
Tony, we don't care the size of your schwanz. We're talking about your toe. Goodness gracious!
It's on your front page, by the way.
Oh, great! Let me look for
that. Click that linkage.
I want to see this. Just oh, there it is. It comes up just as a URL, so I'm going to have to copy it.
Copy and paste.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I'm not saying my website is any good. I'm saying it's just still technically active. This page isn't working.
Go ahead. Rob Black in the comments section saying that y'all should run more screenplays with Duke. Do you like that idea?
Yes. I mean, I want to see, you make them pay for committing so hard to pass rushes.
We need any plays with Duke.
Yeah, that site that you gave me, Tony, isn't working.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, that figures. A fucking Minnesota fan. You cannot expect anything from somebody who cheers on a team that wears funny little purple hats. Ron Shane, time to watch Charger film. That should be a winnable game. Yeah, Phillip Rivers is another high percentage quarterback, but completion-wise, but I don't know anything about them this year. So I'm going to have to.
Chargers are winning. Chargers are winning 17-3 right now.
Yep.
Let them get it out of their system this week.
Yeah.
3-2 playing
Oakland. Beat Oakland halftime.
If this don't work, I can't help you.
All right. Now, Amsterdam saying Ernest Angley's hand was on Joseph's foot. That would explain. He kicked it with his heel. Heel. Okay, enough of that. Let me see if Tony, what he's thrown in there now. All right. It is a video. I'm doing this. I don't mean to be wasting people's time here or watching the program, but yeah, here we go. Yeah. Okay, now let me. I'm gonna keep this on. Let's take a look. All right, here we go.
I reckon it goes off a helmet.
Yeah. Not a great career, they just said. He was 69%. And there he is going through his field sobriety test. Now, let me see what happened here. Yeah, that guy came. Yeah, that was blocked.
It was blocked, yeah.
That was blocked. There is no doubt in my mind. And I want to stop this and pause it to see who in the hell missed the. The guy. Okay, no question what happened. And now I'm going to be able to tell you this. It looks like Darren Fells was left with 2-on-1, all right, and made a cardinal sin. And again, I'm going to run this over.
He took the outside guy instead of the
That is correct.
Yeah, the inside guy probably came straight in.
That is correct. The inside guy came straight through, took the angle. And when you hear the foot hit the ball and the game footage, and I'm going to do this again he was right in front of the kicker. Oh my goodness. And he had to have blocked it. That guy's probably sitting there saying, my God, I'd be
felt
crazy.
like he did, because normally you get that thud when the ball hits a hand.
The thump. Yeah, but I'm telling you, that guy was right in front of him. He couldn't have missed it. It must have
nicked off the side of his hand or something. Yeah.
And the funny part of it is Hugh Jackson's reaction is like, yeah, we won. It's like, God, Hugh.
Oh, man, if that would have fucking missed, it'd side again.
You guys, locker room celebration with Hugh Jackson. He was like, if you guys would just all listen to me, just listen to what we tell you.
And not Todd Haley. Yeah, you can see there is a rift between these two men because after that Streeter end around, you could see Hugh just shaking his head. And it's like, I would never have called that play. It's like, the one did we see last year? It is like.
Is there anything to make out of Landry not going out of bounds with like 30 seconds left, the end of the fourth, other than just trying to be a hero?
Say again.
Remember when there was 1 minute left in the fourth, and they had that drive, and Landry caught that ball but didn't go out of bounds?
Yeah, mistake. Again, it's frustrating when you're not winning and somebody wants to make a play. Hugh Jackson said someone got a hand on it in his interview. It was Brett Kavanaugh. Right. This is going to go on forever, folks, and I'm never going to stop. So give it up. The Baker presser is impressive. Chad saying, "I love this kid." Yeah, it's don't you sound like a pedo though. You should say not. I love this kid. You should say I'm impressed with his skills. This is
no homo.
That's how we know you're a real Democrat.
That's what I was going to say. You took my line away from me, Brian. It's the pain talking, Brian.
It's the pain.
I was going to say this is what the new left is.
Well, as long as we can keep you off of your trike.
You can't. If it's your child, you can say I love this kid. But if it's not your child, you can't say I love this kid. All right. The new left. God help us. Yeah, it looks to me as if the thing was definitely hit. And how does your guy end up not taking the inside rusher?
I don't know, man.
Messed up. I'll tell you, the special teams really damn near lost that game too. Mm-hmm. That's what I see on that replay, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. So at any rate, I'm going to go to the stats now before I get out of here because, and thank you, Tony, for that link. That is in the video. I greatly appreciate that. You can go back to watching your Vikings now, and I won't give you a hard time.
Or hard on.
He certainly won't give me that.
If that's what happened, then we wouldn't be able to tell anyway. Yep. One thing I would urge you, though, safe sex, Tony. Get yourself a thimble, okay?
Jesus Christ, Mark. God damn it.
Mark.
Wear the hat with the horns. That's protection.
Yeah. Okay. So Flacco was 29 of 56, not very good, for 298 yards. Baker was 25 of 43. That's better. With 342 yards. 17 carries for 63 yards for Carlos Hyde, and that's our running game, folks.
Lenny the Cow's in the chat room.
Say what?
Lenny the Cow is in the chat room.
Who is?
Lenny the Cow.
Lenny the Cow is in the chat room?
Yeah, look at.
Let me see this from mine own eyes.
Lenny.
Where? I don't see him.
Right.
On which page? On YouTube?
The YouTube chat.
Oh, yeah, he is. Lenny the Cow. Hey, Lenny, wait a minute. I mean, hold on, Lenny. I'm going to put a link in, Lenny, if you want to come on the program. Yeah, okay, I'm going to put the link in, Lenny. This will be historic. Lenny the Cow is legendary. All right, wait a minute.
He's an original pastor head before me, even.
God, I mean, this is like vintage. Let's see if I can get this. My hands are shaking.
Thank God we're going retro.
I'm excited like Brett Kavanaugh was with. Now, Lenny, that's the link. Click on that, and you can get right in. You can get right onto the show. If you don't have a camera, as long as you have a microphone or something you can talk into, we can hear you or we can see you. If he's on his phone, God, I don't know. Modesta Crawford, hi, how you doing? Yeah. The original gangster pasture head, Lenny the Cow.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if Lenny can get in. I'm bummed. Maybe I was too late.
Has Lenny been on your show before?
Lenny?
Yeah, back in like 2003.
God, I mean, yeah. Lenny the Cow, he's a family cow now. He's got calves of his own. And
Liberty Forging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He loved the Liberty Forging. Yeah. Yeah. And he also prognosticated football games with me by doing mantras on the air. Yeah. Chris Devine saying, Browns, cardiac kids ride again. Woo! Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Did Lenny leave?
There's no way to tell. It doesn't look. I don't think there's a people in the chat room list.
Bummer.
He might be trying. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But if he's on a phone, we know exactly that. Mayfield is the new Sipe. And it's like I would say no more. So he's
they're the same height.
Brett Favre. Give me 1 minute.
He's got another 40 pounds on site, but the same height.
Yeah. Baker, I still think he's like Brett Favre.
Yeah, the Favre.
Yeah. Brett Favre. Yeah. Now you're sitting right over here.
I have a question.
Tackled, but then it looked like they took the play off here. And it looked like Baker Mayfield, to me, kind of scrambled out, went out to the right, and he found Derek Willis. And you know something? Hugh Jackson can't find a flag in his pants, but Mayfield found his Willie.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think that Hugh Jackson will finally sit down and talk to Todd Haley about eliminating these stupid wide receiver reverses that everybody
Preach.
Dude, you make too much sense. You make too much damn sense. I mean, It is. And you know what also galls me? Every time we have a 2nd and 1, he never just runs the ball and gets the goddamn first down. And he runs a play that loses yardage. I don't know if you notice this, but in the red zone, we could just punch it in with the run, and he runs end arounds and all kinds of goofy plays. I mean, I don't know.
Plays that make me throw my phone across the living room.
Yeah, man. You know what I think? Todd Haley's on X. I think he takes X, and he's just totally, you know, I don't know. It's like, we're on the 1 yard line. I guess I'm, you know.
There was something else that I noticed. I wonder if anybody else brought it up. That how is it that one of the most violent football teams in the NFL only had 3 penalties against them, 2 on the special teams late in the 4th quarter? How is that possible?
Preach.
Well, I mean, it's possible depending on what you're looking for. Okay. I mean, you ignore what you ignore, Brett Kavanaugh, and you focus in on what you want to focus in on, Brett Kavanaugh. And you see, in the end, I look at this and I say the referees just were not interested in calling anything on the Ravens. And
or you could focus in on the crypt keeper of Dianne Feinstein. But
oh God, I mean, her.
Oh, here we go.
I said. I tweeted to her too because she was talking, and it's like, oh, you know, women your age voted Trump in office. Shut the fuck up. Right.
I have a theory on this.
I want to hear your theory, please.
I think because the Browns were such perennial losers that they got the worst graded officials in the NFL. Yep. Now, especially now that they're full time, but now that they have beaten the division leading Ravens. Tom Brady is getting ready to retire. Peyton Manning is gone. You need a new success story in the NFL. You have Baker Mayfield, who despite all of the bad calls or non-calls that went against them, they finally won a game and should have won another one. I think now that the officiating as far as Browns games are concerned, especially with Phillip Rivers coming to town, we're going to get better officials. We're going to get better officials now throughout the rest of the season. Let the bad officials go to Buffalo.
Can I ask you a question, Bitter Truth?
But I think, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is your girlfriend a model, or are you stalking somebody?
What do you mean? Oh, you talking about the pictures in the back?
Subtle.
Whoa. I used to be a professional photographer. This is the cover from my magazine. This right here, this used to be my girlfriend, and of course, prom date and all of that model stuff. But that's what that is.
She had a ton of personality. The girl was so right for me. Yeah, okay, enough of that.
No story, he's sticking to it.
But I really think now we're going to get better officials from here on out. We're going to get better officiated games. We're not going to get the cheap stuff and the stupid stuff and whatnot. I really think that the Browns are on the upswing, that the pendulum was swinging their way now. Okay, back in the AFC, back towards the division. It's going to come down between us and the Bengals now because they're still kind of young. The Bengals are still kind of young, where the Steelers and the Ravens, their quarterbacks are getting ready to get pushed out. Yeah. Okay, Dalton's not going anywhere. So I think now it's going to be a whole new regime now in the AFC, especially us against Kansas City, Jacksonville, if they can get rid of Blake Bortles, because good Lord, he cost them that game against Kansas City. I really think that now we're going to be fantastic. We're going to be back where we belong. Back during the Ozar era. I really think it's coming now. I see it. We've got the quarterback. We've got young defensive players. We can do this. He said, I'm a pimp. That's good. That's funny.
Well, I mean, you pretty well said it all. I think that the table is set, but I still think we need a few more pieces for Baker. And I also think that the offensive line, I mean, look, the Ravens were a good defense, make no mistake. And, but he was pressured and, it made it more difficult than it needs to be. He needs to have receivers. They were throwing so many men on the line of scrimmage and coming after Baker because they felt that they could one-on-one handle the Browns receivers. And what won the game was not the protection, but it was Baker evading the pocket and keeping his head up and making a play downfield. We got to protect him better, because the last thing we want to do is go back to Tyrod Taylor, because we cannot go back to that. I mean,
here's what I think. I think that Landry is a solid number 2, but he is not a number 1 wide receiver. And Josh Gordon, he is a number 1, but because he's too cool for school, where he didn't want to learn the playbook and everything, he just thought that he should just go out there and just win on talent. That Of course, that's why we got rid of him. I really don't think that he's going to finish out the season on the Patriots roster. We'll see. But I think once we get a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, then that way we can have Landry as the number 2, as he was designated to be, and we can have Callaway in the slot, and with Higgins as the 4th wide receiver. Next year, I really think that everything is going to come together. We'll get the players that we need, because John Dorsey has proven to us that he is a solid talent evaluator. Kansas City, that was a power struggle, because it was a power struggle between him and Andy Reid, because Andy Reid knows talent too. So of course they pushed him out. Somebody had to go. You want to fire the coach that you just hired and gave all that money to. So of course you let go of Dorsey. The simple fact that he was out there for so long is kind of stupid by the NFL, and he was pretty much gifted to us. But I really think he's going to be the saving grace for this franchise. I really do. So
I'm going to change the name. I'm going to change the name of the show to Bitter Truth Radio, because
you're totally correct, man. I'm agreeing with you, mate.
There's a kid for Iowa State that we need to start watching, named Hakeem Butler. He's 6'6". He's 6'6".
Oh my God!
Long, lanky, and he's got good feet.
What's his speed?
He's faster than anybody on the. Well, I would say he's probably a step behind Callaway in speed.
What does those hands look like? Can he make the tough catches?
Yes.
If you can make the with that size and you're fast and make the tough catches, you should go in the 1st round. There's no hands down.
But the thing is that Iowa State is 2-3. They won a big football game this weekend, but they're not a good football team. So I don't know what you saw.
They just They won this game because they just started their freshman. I think his name is Purdy or something like that, and the guy can wing the ball all over the field. So they're going to start really passing the ball.
Mississippi State wasn't a good football team either, but who's the greatest football player to ever play the game that came out of there?
You're right.
Exactly.
Well, again, there's going to be a lot of, the thing that's good about the wide receiver position is that, as we know from our own experience, quarterbacks go first. Next, if you have really a shutdown corner, he can go, a running back like Saquon Barkley can go high in the 1st round. You start looking at what teams take. A franchise left tackle, or Anthony Munoz or a Joe Thomas, will go high in the 1st round. But wide receivers, notoriously, you can wait a little longer. And the good news for the Cleveland Browns is, if we're going to win some football games this year and our draft position is lowered because of it, there should still be the guy that we're looking for. There should be, if we end up like drafting, 8th or 9th or whatever the case may be, that guy is going to be on the board for us one way or the other. So that's the good news and all that. So,
I know the receiver you guys might like. I don't mean to sound biased because I'm a Longhorns fan, but number 9, Colin Johnson, is a beast. They said he could be the next Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, he had a good game against Oklahoma.
Yeah, that Oklahoma game. Wow, was that a football game? I sounded like Bruce Dreaded. Wow, was that a football game?
I love you, Texas.
Just don't get arrested again, and you'll be all right.
Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns.
Let me take that back. I love Bruce Drennan. I take that back. Sorry, Bruce.
Bruce.
Everybody loves Bruce.
Bruce is a friend. He's a friend.
He's one of us.
He's definitely frustrated. Oh, there's the Texas jersey being displayed. Wait a second.
Earl Campbell, the greatest running back of all time. Earl Campbell.
Skull, brother.
Scott Campbell.
All right.
420 said Hubbard is our weak link on the line. You know what? I have to agree, but you gotta let him develop. If he hasn't developed by the end of the year, then you can go ahead and get a right tackle in free agency. But I mean, you got to let this line gel. They held their own. They held their own through most of the game. Of course, it's the Ravens. They're going to get you. They're going to get their sacks. They're going to get the quarterback pressures. I mean, that's expected. But let's see what happens during the rest of the season with these tackles.
I didn't hear Terrell Suggs' name brought up that much today either. So
Terrell.
I don't know how many tackles he had.
He got one sack, and that's only because that Mayfield, he held the ball a little too long. It was a coverage sack.
Yeah, it was a coverage sack, and he kind of stepped right into Suggs.
Exactly.
Suggs had actually left his feet on the play, and Harrison actually pushed him into Baker because he didn't really know that Baker was going to make that move. But, but no, he was not a factor in the game, and that says a lot about Desmond Harrison. I think that it's, nothing.
They're starting to gel.
Yeah.
Starting to gel.
Slowly.
I think Suggs only made 2 plays throughout the whole game. One where he chased down Carlos Hyde from the backside on the run early in the game, and then the Mayfield sack. Other than that, Harrison, for an undrafted rookie left tackle, oh my God, that was a steal.
What was it? What was it? Was it West Georgia State? Is that where he went?
Some small school.
We got to give it up to Joe Thomas, our unpaid assistant offensive line coach, for giving him tips on how to deal with Suggs.
Yeah, that's partially true, but honestly, you could give all of the idiots that we've had on our offensive line. You could have given Cam Irving all the advice in the world. You could have, you could have, and I've already forgotten their names. The 2 guys we got rid of. Drango.
I know he went to
Drango unblocked.
But is he still in the
league? Thank you. Drango unblocked.
Go ahead, Bitter Truth.
I'll say, is Cam Irving still in the league? I know he went to Kansas City when we got rid of him. But is he still, is he the starter in Kansas?
No. And that's the funny part. They gave him an extension. Maybe Brett Kavanaugh did. But they gave him an extension, and then they pulled out the rug from under him, and he's not the starter. He's an insurance policy who was given an extension. And it is really, and I think the Chiefs realized, oh my God, we're winning. We can't put him in. And there you have it. I mean, Mahomes becomes a valuable property.
Another first.
He did start at left guard today for the Chiefs, by the way. Cam Irving did. He
what?
Started at left guard for the Chiefs today.
Oh, he started today.
Yep.
Somebody must be hurt. Somebody must be hurt. No, I'm not joking.
That explains why they couldn't run the football.
It's weird. Bills win, Jets win, Browns win today.
Yeah, and but did you see Crowell was at 13 carries for 180 yards?
Yeah.
Well, the one was a 77-yard touchdown.
Right? That's the one that I watched.
12 for 100. Yeah.
How did he run so far so fast with a ball up his ass while he was wiping it?
Lines beat the Packers.
I have to be honest. Isaiah Crowell was not a bad running back. It's just that he ran with his pads forward, so therefore it was easy to tackle him at the ankles. It was easy to knock him off balance. But overall, he was a really good back. He's a good back. He's a good back. I have to give him his credit.
And they're also the Jets are also getting him on the edge of the offensive line, so he's actually able to just run away from people.
Yeah.
Check this out. Lions beat the Packers, too, and all the home teams won the first half of the game so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Packers.
Kickers, Mason Crosby missed about 867 fucking field goals today.
Yeah, I mean, it's and Rosen. Arizona's ahead with Rosen at the quarterback position, 14-6, with only about a minute left in the first half. We can take a look to see how
Rosenstein.
Yeah,
Rams and Seahawks are tied.
5 out of 11 for 110 yards. Well, he's getting bunches of yards, but his completion is a little under 50%, which isn't all that good. But still, it's something.
Yeah, but you got to count the drops.
Yeah, I mean,
veteran kicker wise, Dan Bailey's missed 2 of his 3 field goals today.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a league wide problem.
Yeah.
But he wanted to go to the right team. Didn't he say that?
I mean, look at this. Darnold only threw for 198 yards, but his team, look at the Crowell ran for 219 yards. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? I mean, you don't have to be great. Sam Darnold was only 10 for 22. So, I mean, yeah, that's not real good. So,
you do have a great defense. We have to give it to them. They still have a good defense.
Yeah, and amazingly,
pass defense today.
Mr. Kumquat himself, Pat Shurmur lost. What a freaking zucchini! Ugh.
Did you see the play he fucking drew up today? They fucking lateraled it to Odell Beckham and he threw it down the field to Saquon.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Was that the one for the
touchdown? Threw one.
Yeah, pitched it to Odell Beckham. Beckham threw it down the field to Saquon Barkley for a 75-yard touchdown.
Across the field.
You know what? Can I say something about Saquon Barkley?
Sure.
Cleveland fans, they wanted Saquon Barkley so bad, which I thought was a big mistake. But if you notice, Saquon Barkley, he puts out at least one highlight per game where he's had the big run, okay? And today he had the big catch. But he is not the Adrian Peterson type of back or Emmitt Smith type of back where if you give him 20 carries, he's going to have 125 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns. No, he will, throughout 60 plays, out of 59, he'll be average, and then we'll have one big play. And people will live off of that and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is, overall, you take away his big play per game, that kid sucks.
Yeah, you sound like Chris Rock. That's who you sound like. I just
there is no sex in the champagne room.
Hey, let me ask you about this. The Chiefs are what 5-0 now. How long is Mahomes lasting? You think it'll last the whole year?
I think they're not going to go undefeated. I think the AFC championship game will go through Kansas City.
Kansas City's a good team.
And then they end up going like 12-4, 11-5, 10-6. I'm just asking, do y'all think this is going to be another one of those cases, or do you think they can actually go 14-2 or 15?
I don't know. They got a tough schedule. They're at New England next week. And then
barring injury, I think the AFC championship game will go through Kansas City. Doesn't matter the record. I think they are the best team in the AFC.
They got to go to Cleveland. But
there.
I mean, boy, it's been years since we've been able to say something like that. It's been years, you know.
I'm trying to give you some credit here.
The thing with Kansas City is that they play sandlot football. Mahomes extends the plays. When the play is supposed to last at least about 3 to 5 seconds max, he extends it to another 5 seconds, and therefore the coverage breaks down. And I mean, if you look at all of their highlights, all of their big plays, Mahomes is running to the right. He's running to the left. He's very rarely in the pocket, 3-step drop, throw, boom, there's the play. There's the highlight. It's him getting outside. If you can't stop him from getting outside, Kansas City's going to kill you.
Well, I think that Mahomes, watching his press conference last week, and the first one I've seen of his, it was like hearing Mike Tyson speak for the first time. Patrick Mahomes steps up to the mic. He's like, yeah, and I just went out there and I just did the. It's like, no, that's not the voice that comes out of that guy. No. Yeah, it was like, it was like
a couple of steak sandwiches and a Heineken.
I mean, it was like the first time I ever saw Mike Tyson speak. I mean, it was great. He just ripped the left hook into somebody and gave them like brain damage, and it was like he's 19 years old, and it's like, great. That's a great first performance. I just want to say thank you very much. It's like what? Thank you, Mr. Larry Merchant. I just want to say that I'm just very happy to be here.
And then he fell in love with the word ludicrous.
Yeah, and I
believe that's all, folks.
God damn.
He's the Backstreet Boy you never heard of.
Pat Mahomes, man. I couldn't believe that, though. It's like, I just wanted to step up and, yeah, okay. Sit him down.
Very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits.
All the swag of the world. It was like totally dissipated. Well, I'm done. I think we've said everything that needs to be said, and it's already 6 o'clock. I want to see at least the second half of some of these football games. But boy, great panel today. Great panel today.
Can I do so? Can I invoke the Black Cow of Death?
Yes, you can invoke him.
Oh fuck, bro.
I'm invoking the Black Cow of Death. Show the Black Cow of Death. Say something so he shows up on screen.
He is on screen right now.
To the NFL referees who next try to screw the Browns, I give you the Black Cow of Death.
And
all right.
Black Cow.
There he is. He's peering into your soul with a penetrating stare. Everybody who is in the NFL headquarters where these horrible decisions are being solidified, remember, you're not dealing with Cleveland fans only. You are dealing with the BCOD here. The Black Cow of Death
is only invoked under emergency situation.
Mr. Moohead, before you kick us off,
yeah,
I want to ask you just one thing about Indians baseball. I know you're not going to have much to say. Your pitcher,
about the Brooms, that's the Indians.
Your pitcher yesterday said the Astros don't have anything special that we don't. Did you hear about that after the post game? He said they're nothing special. They don't have anything we don't.
Well, testicles count for something.
Did you hear Francisco Lindor's epiphany? He said this out loud as if this is something great. We have to win 3 games in a row.
By that statement,
when Lindor said, "Well, look, there are teams who have come back down 3-1. Yes, against us. We are the Toronto Raptors of the Major League Baseball scene, man. I mean, that's who we are.
We are the Raptors.
For the Braves, we got to give the Braves their credit too. They've coughed up 3-1 leads back in the 90s.
Yeah, but they ended up winning a World Series. So, I mean,
Dave Justice, curse you.
God almighty. I mean, and it's true. I mean, it's true. I can't.
With Stonehands, Melky Cabrera out in right field, what did you fucking expect? I mean, my God.
You know something? What I want to do is I want to see who could line up a field goal faster, Joseph or Melky Cabrera, because both of them look like they have severe stability problems. I mean, I don't know. It's like Melky needs a walker out there, man. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, another guy with vertigo.
Too. Am I on drugs or is our field goal kicker a knuckler?
Well, no, our field goal kicker has got vertigo. I'm convinced that he's like.
They clean kicks. They just wobble all over the place. They twist and turn. You would think he was kicking in a hurricane.
Well, and not only that, for our over 60 audience, which there is some, he looked like Otis from Mayberry. No, okay.
He's our drunken master champion.
God damn! I mean,
I'm wearing the wrong hat.
God damn! I mean, and I swear to God, I watched the video that Tony sent, and he's going through this mechanical thing, and you know what he looks like? He looks like.
What does he look like?
He looks like a white guy who's totally uncoordinated trying to do the Macarena. That's what he looks like. He's like, what the fuck is this? What is he doing? Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to get. I got the coordination. I think I got it.
Yeah. And he doesn't know the words.
Yeah, it's like, would somebody just yell out, "Hey, Macarena," so I know where I'm at. It's like
put it over the loudspeaker.
God,
Mr. Moody, are you watching the game tomorrow? It's at 1:35 on a work 9 to 5 shift tomorrow. The Astros Indians.
That was also Baerga's walk-up music, by the way.
What I'm trying to figure out. Is the Indians fever.
Here's how Cabrera can't field it.
Indian swamp fever.
what is worse, Indians fever or Ebola? That's what I want.
With Ebola, there's no hope. With Indians fever, you have false hope.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Indians fever usually goes away in October, so you're pretty much got a deadline.
There's a guy.
Indian fever. It's all the same, man.
There's a guy on my timeline and Twitter, and it's like his name is Victor, Viktor, and he's 216.
Victor Martinez? Holy shit.
He's the optimist. He's like the biggest Homer Indians fan. And I'm sitting there saying to him, he goes, we're as good as any team in the playoffs. I said, dude, with the exception of Houston, New York, and Boston. It's like, what are you watching, you fucking moron? What are you watching?
Dodgers, the Rockies.
Yeah, they'll come back and say, hey, we're top 5.
I have a suggestion. How many of us have 20-something-year-old like nephews or sons or cousins? As far as males.
No, you're not going to photograph mine.
No. My suggestion is
you want to bring Kavanaugh back
and punts. Because Lord, I'm tired of seeing Jabril Peppers fair catch balls.
Oh my God.
What the fuck are you doing?
Well, that's what I think. I think Joseph the kicker got lessons from Jabril Peppers on how to take the right route to the ball. And that is a problem. That is a definitive problem. Oh. But you watch the replay of the kick, and you watch the whole routine he's going through with this, and then he takes these awkward side steps. He looks like Herman Munster lining up a goddamn field goal. God. All right, everybody, I'm finished. But great panel. And Tony, thanks for jumping in. Steven, thank you. Rick, thank you. And Michael, thank you. And Brian, thank you. And Boris Badenoff, thank you. And the bitter truth, you're really, you're coming, yeah. I mean,
Mr. Moohead, real quick, score on tomorrow's game. Just throw numbers out. I don't care anything. Indians, Astros. What do you call it?
16-0 Astros.
A 4-1 Astros. Indians gone. Okay. Yeah.
9-1 Astros.
I take it you guys aren't watching the game.
I would say
early. I'll be watching it. 6-1 Astros. We get our usual 3 hits.
Rick's gonna take one for the team.
Yeah. That's another way of saying retirement's a bitch.
Heart attack scares today. I am definitely not watching the Indians tomorrow.
Well, I'll probably tune in just to laugh my ass off and to pester Victor because he says you're just a negative old fart. And I'm going, really? Well, yeah. After each loss, I say, would you care to change your mind about this? And he gets only angrier, and it's great,
He's not trying to call you Coleman, is he?
What?
He's not trying to call you the second coming Andrew Coleman, is he?
No, Andrew Coleman is poor Andrew. When he put a comment on the show afterwards. He goes, "Man, we're having a bad week, Moohead, because I love Gordon Lightfoot." And I'm like, God damn!
Oh,
God. Welcome to the club.
If you'd spend an afternoon with me approaching lavender. It's like I would rather have a coma induced.
On the lake they call Get Ya Goomy.
Yeah, I'd rather have an induced coma than have to listen to an entire album.
PCOD for Gordon too, man.
Come on.
Tear-free highway.
I just sang Approaching Lavender and the BCOD fell asleep. I mean, it's
wake them up.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this postgame show. Victorious! The Browns win 12-9. There is nothing more. Nothing else matters right now. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Back again on Moohead Radio tomorrow. If you're around any of the people on the panel at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, please join me tomorrow. I will be on the air, and I will place the link like I did today. And I appreciate all of your participation. To everybody at home, have a good rest of the weekend. Go Vikings for Tony. Let him be happy. And hasta la vista, Pat.
Either that or I'll know.
Go Browns.
What?
Good night.